we're with Peter and Peta in their back garden. It's a lovely April day. It's a bit chilly, but the sun is out and it's nice and shining. And we're going in to talk to them about their life and the times in their life of Peter and Peta. So, Peter, tell me, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Nottingham. I was born in Warwickshire, and my parents moved to Nottingham when I was about 3 years old, and we lived there until I was 5, and then we moved to, my father was an engineer, and he'd been out in Bulawayo in Africa for 2 years, and the company that he worked for invited my mum to take us out there because his contract was coming to an end. So we left the UK when I was 5, and we went out to Durban in South Africa, and in the period from when this all started, my father signed a new contract for another turbine to be built, and we ended up being in Africa for 10 years.
10 years?
So all my education was mainly done in South Africa.
Yeah.
I went to a county school out there and came back to the UK when I was 15, which was a shock to me when I first came back here after being out there in the lovely sunshine.
Yes.
But during the time I was out in Africa, I learned so many things, educational-wise and sports-wise, and they have a completely different education system to the one we've got.
Yeah.
And I think that's most probably why I'm sort of a person that doesn't like any winters. I only like summers. It was something of a treat.
Yeah. Where did you meet, and how did you meet?
We first met in when I lived in Nottingham. I knew Peter's sister Jill before I ever met Pete, and I met her through her husband, who was in the same business as himself, and we got together, and I used to go to his house and listen to his record collection, and after a period of time I got to know Peter through her sister, and then I eventually left Nottingham, came down to Surrey where Peter lived, and the relationship started and went from there.
Okay.
That was in 1971.
1971.
Yeah, and in about 1972 we got engaged, and then we got married in 1975.
Okay. And how old were you then when you met?
I got married I was 29, and it was the 20th of September,
Okay.
our wedding day, and my 30th birthday was on the 25th.
Okay.
So we were actually on honeymoon.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, how many children have you had?
I've had two boys.
Two boys.
Two boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan and Mark.
Right.
So that was nice. Yeah.
And your grandchildren?
Grandchildren, we've got three children.
Three
girls,
grandchildren.
3 girls. Yes.
Right. 3 girls.
3 girls.
Our eldest one is 21.
21.
The youngest one is 16.
And the younger one is 6.
Right.
Yes.
The middle one, Chloe, she suffers with autism.
Okay.
And has had a few problems over the years, but she now goes to a special school for girls with autistic problems.
Okay.
In Oxted in Surrey.
Yeah.
And our younger granddaughter, of course, she has had a rare cancer disease.
But she's
But she's now recovered fully from that.
Fantastic.
And she's due to be seen by the doctors over each year. Sorry, each year for the next few years.
Yeah. And she has monthly checkups.
Yeah.
But she's she's doing very
Yeah,
well.
Good.
She's good.
We retired. Was it 13 years ago now?
Right.
Yeah.
And we chose Bognor Regis because we originally brought our children down here on holiday, like I think a fair number of people in this area.
Yeah.
And we've always liked the area. We wanted to find something to do, and eventually we went to the local village hall, and we saw this thing called short mat bowls.
Yeah.
And that was how we actually started to get involved
Okay.
in
So
the
We didn't
bowling
know how
thing.
to play bowls
No,
at all.
no.
You know,
And
so it was really,
your first club was what?
Night timber.
Night timber.
Night timber short mat bowls.
Right.
yeah,
So, and what clubs do you belong to now?
just yourself.
Just North End Bowling Club.
Yes, and Bognor Goodwoods.
Bognor Goodwoods.
Goodwoods,
Yes. Yeah.
And then
We both prefer county.
Yes.
I think some of the stories, unfortunately, is because of Pete's height.
What do you mean? She's 6'3".
6'3". And
You
we always
say,
have
where
this.
am I? Where am I?
We always like this lineup at the end of matches at county, because he tends to stand near Alan Foote, who
Okay.
is about 6'10",
She says, come on,
and they've got this thing between them, and they always stand in the lineup together,
Okay.
and it becomes quite a historic thing, especially when the others on the other side are looking, you know.
Yes.
You know,
That's
that's
Do you want to talk about your condition a little bit? Because people don't really understand it.
basically
And
what it is. I used to. It's happened over many years, because I used to smoke a pipe,
right.
and the condition has come through smoking, obviously.
Yeah.
And when I lived in Croydon for many years, my doctors said to me that you've got mild COPD, and looking at the condition from that angle, then they said that over a period of time it will get worse. And when I moved to here, they had actually got a clinic for COPD people.
Yeah.
And over the years since being here, it's got a little worse. And I do find it difficult. It is very frustrating to, your body wants you to do it, but your breathing won't let you do it.
Yeah.
And that is, from my point of view, the most annoying thing.
Yeah.
So
Because
you're
when
on
I get
oxygen
there,
now, aren't you?
I have, I carry oxygen tanks with me around, which I think we've seen at the club.
Yeah.
And but what happens sometimes is I get into like a panic attack. I'm driving down to yourselves. I'm all happy in the car, which I enjoy anyway. Then driving down, and when I get there, I think, oh God, I've got to walk from here to the club with my bulge bag and my things, and I get into a bit of a panic, which makes it a bit worse.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm starting a breathing course in a week's time, and I'm hoping that I can get them to give me a little bit of support.
Yeah.
But no, it's not a very nice condition.
No.
I brought it on myself,
Okay.
and therefore, when you're 20, you don't worry about it, do you? So I've got to learn to live with it.
Yeah.
Luckily, when we lived in Croydon and I knew I had it, the doctors, I went to see my doctor one morning because I was suffering badly, and when I was chatting to him, I said, well, I'm going to Australia soon. So he said, well, I don't think you really need to book a ticket. He said, I don't think it'll do you any good unless you pack up the smoking lark. Then I went home, very down, collected all my pipes and all my tobaccos, put them in a plastic bag, and drove down to the dump with them.
Oh goodness. I believe that you got a special award, Peter, for being a hairdresser
Oh yes.
when you were a hairdresser. Would you like to tell us about your special award?
I was the smallest hairdresser in Great Britain. I'm 4'7" now, but I think I was 4'6" at the time. I'm not sure. Anyway, when I was at Brantford Croydon, they said to me, "Why don't you do this competition?" The girls, and I said, "Oh no, I don't need to say." "Yes, come on, and we're going to do it." It was the hairdresser's journal, and the smallest hairdresser, smallest lady, and the smallest gentleman. So there I was. They said, "Yes, I'm going to put you in it." Anyway, I came tied with another guy. So I got a little thing. I had it written down in the magazine actually,
Right.
and so I came tied with this other one. So she was 4'6", and I was 4'6", actually the same.